Good morning. I am here to tell you that you have it all, and you were born with it. You don't have to search for it. You have it all. Now, what do I mean by having it all? Well, have you ever wished to be smarter? Guess what? You already have the wisdom of all time. Have you ever wanted more love in your life?
Absolutely.
You already have that too, because you were born and created of the one original love. Do you want to have more joy in your life? Who doesn't want that?
Yes, yes.
You already have all the joy that's full and complete, and no one can take it away from you. It will always be there, and it has always been there. Ralph Waldo Emerson stated, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Ernest Holmes wrote, "Every man has an inherent God power within him." So I'm so happy to be here at Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. And I'm so happy to be standing up here sharing this good news with you, and knowing that this beautiful consciousness was already created by Reverend Rita with the beautiful readings and the prayer and the music. That consciousness has already been created by Deb Chamberlain, and I thank them both so much. And I am basing this talk on the spiritual belief that we are not separate from our Creator. Now, in the book, Living the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes included a section called What We Believe, Declaration of Principles. And there's 13 spiritual principles that Science of Mind are based on. Today, I will be referring to 2 of these principles in this talk. So the first one is, we believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in man, and that all men are incarnations of the Spirit. And the second principle I will be focusing on is we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. And I will be referring to these later on as well. Now, there was a time that I did not believe this. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I did not believe that God was with me at all times, because I believed that God was way high up in the sky. This is when I was a child. I was way high up in the sky. He was way high up in the sky. I was down below. And there was a complete separation is what I thought. I also, as a child, had some fear around God. I didn't want God to see me doing anything that was wrong. I didn't want to be punished by God, because I also had that belief that there's a possibility that God may have been a punishing God. And I wanted to be worthy of God's love. And this was the same with myself and my friends when we were younger. We were conflicted and we were a little confused about God. Oh, thank goodness I don't have those same beliefs anymore. I don't have that belief that God and I are separate. So let's talk about what a belief is. Deepak Chopra explains that a belief is simply a thought that is true for you. A thought that is true for you. He says that the world we create for ourselves is based on these thoughts, and these beliefs shape our reality. So my reality or belief when I was younger was that God was very, very far away from me. And this belief that I had created a distance in my relationship with God, a physical distance and a mental distance. God was not creating this distance, but it was my belief that created the distance, and it was not the truth, and it's still not the truth. Now, I believe and know that there's no separation, but the absolute opposite. It's a complete unity. In fact, it is such a unity that God has implanted a part of itself right inside me and right inside each one of us. And in his book, Living the Science of Mind, Holmes included a section called The Silent One Within Us. And under that section, he wrote this. This is really good. The Supreme Being is at the center of each one of us. It is not only at the center of our life, it is the center of our life. Hence, to think of it as the very essence of our own being is clear thinking. To know that its being is our being is right knowing. And to declare that its life is our life is to permit its power to flow through us. And he continues, all sacred scriptures have proclaimed the unity of life, that every man is a center of God consciousness. This is the meaning of the mystical marriage, or the union of the soul with its source. Jesus boldly proclaimed that he was one with the Father. This is the basis of all New Thought teaching, the spiritual union of all life. Deepak Chopra says, the whole universe exists in you. And the Sufi poet Rumi wrote, do not feel lonely. The entire universe is inside you. And in the Bible, 1 John 4, verse 13, it is written, hereby know that we dwell in him and he in us, because he hath given us of his Spirit. Now, referring back to the two spiritual principles that I mentioned earlier, and I don't expect you to remember them, so I'm going to give you a little reminder. The first one, we believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in man, and that all men are incarnations of the one Spirit. That's the first one. And the second one we're focusing on, there is a unity of all life, and the highest God and the innermost God are one. So why is it important to know this? How does this change my life and your life with these beliefs? Well, for me, it's knowing that I embody all of God's qualities. So I know that God is love, so that means I am love. I'm love inside, around, through, and as me, as I'm that vessel. We are each the full embodiment of God. And this is the same for all the qualities of God. So we embody and are wisdom, peace, we're harmony, and joy, and compassion, and truth, and goodness, and so much more. We embody the qualities, the attributes, and the characteristics of our divine Creator. All right, so now that we know this, what are we to do with this wonderful information? We are to be aware of the infinite inner being in us. So it's there, it's always been there, but if we're not aware and conscious of it, it's not going to be so good. Deepak Chopra says, we are the creative impulse of the source field. We are the spirit, the divine spark. This presence, he goes so far to say, this presence is the only real part of us. So if you shift your awareness to your being, it will give you freedom, he says. So Deepak advises us to be aware of our inner being and connect with it on a conscious level. Don't just let it lay there dormant. Connect with it on a conscious level. And this is a key phrase. And how can we connect with our spirit and our divine spark, as he says? How can we do this? to the infinite source? And how can we open ourselves up to that pure creative energy that God is? Well, one way we can focus on this inner energy essence of the divine, and I'm sure you've heard this before, through meditation, which is wonderful. And being mindful of our breath, mindful breathing and focusing on that. And they are two ways that are the most often suggested. And they are a great way to stay connected and be conscious. But I'd like to add another way that may work for you, that has been working for me lately. I have found that I can listen and connect to the divine spark inside me when I'm doing something that doesn't take all my focus. So for me, I enjoy hand sewing, sitting down and just doing some mindless or easy hand sewing. And I don't have to be totally focused on that. And during that time, I have the best listening and talking sessions with God. And I actually started calling these God sessions. And there was a time when I didn't sit and enjoy hand sewing because I thought like it was a luxury. You know, there's so much always to do. I have to do. I have to be busy. And our society really does create this. I had to get so many things done. I had my to-do list. But once I realized that busyness is not always best for me, I really started to make time and not just say it was a luxury. It was something I really needed to do. And I stopped basing my self-worth on how much I accomplished. So once I started taking the time and really allowing myself the time to just sit and sew, I found myself feeling calmer. And the calmness led me to slow down my breathing. And then finally led me to connecting and being aware of that inner goodness and that inner godness and the creativity that permeates in, around, and through and as me. So in these God sessions, I talk to God, I share everything, I ask for direction in certain matters, and then I allow my mind to go blank and listen. And this isn't the only time I've been having God sessions. Another great time for me that I've discovered is walking my dog. So we have 3 dogs and a cat, and our oldest dog, Stella, is 14 years old now. So you can imagine she's not a quick walker, and when I would walk her, I would actually get frustrated because I like to walk quickly, and she was getting slower and slower. And when I was walking her, at times I'd pull out my phone and check my email and check my text, and I'd be like, hurry up. But she's really taught me something. She's really taught me it's okay to slow down. It's okay. And while she's smelling everything, I don't pull out my phone. I don't do that anymore. That's when I really just slow down, listen to my breathing, and have a great God sessions. And I'm aware of the divine creative intelligence. So the creative power inside gives me the best inspirations and ideas, and also the most amazing solutions to something that may have been heavy on my mind or heavy on my heart. And if you've ever heard that saying, like, that solution just came out of thin air, or I don't know how I came up with that, we really do know. We really do know, because we were inspired for that. Now, here's some other ways that I've heard. I've asked a few friends. So my friend Brenda says that being in nature, especially hiking and the beach, since she lives close to the beach, is a great time for her to become aware and to connect to her inner creative energy. It brings her peace, it slows down her breath, and I'm not surprised being in nature, since it's a whole unity of life that we are. I'm not surprised by that. Other people do puzzles. They don't have to focus that much on that, and they're connecting. Some people are doodling, crocheting. I've heard others knitting. Maybe I've heard people that they sat down and they were soaking their feet after a hard day. They're doing it then. Riding the train or a bus. As long as you know your stop is coming up, you're fine with that. Washing dishes, ironing, painting. These are things you don't have to focus on. Gardening. And one friend said she, even now, when it rains, she goes out in the rain and does a walking meditation and connects. So anything that does not take all of your attention and focus, you can become aware of your divine truth. This can become a God session for you. During these times, ask for guidance and listen. Your intuitive muscles will grow as you speak, as God speaks to you and you speak to God. So I am going to ask you that question. What about for you? When can you have a God session? I've given you some suggestions, but when do you think and where do you think this would work for you? And I want you to, right now, right here, think of when this would work for you. And I'm going to give you an assignment. After all, I'm a retired teacher, so I'm used to doing that. As you think of one or two times or places or activities that you can have a God session, I'm going to ask you to turn to one or two people and share this and have them share with you. So as you've thought of one or two, please turn and talk to someone and tell them when this is going to work for you. An activity, a place, a time. Go ahead.
I always do a lot of walking at my God sessions by walking. And so I walk every day. So that's actually the primo time. And when I'm cutting the grass in yard work. How about for you?
Okay, I'm going to call you back. And I would like people to share. What were some of the things you said or someone said to you? What were some of the activities or times or places that you thought of? And everyone's still talking, that's a good thing. All right, how about sharing now? Let's see. Who came up with something that they're going to have a session with God? Michael, did I hear you say when you're cutting the grass?
When I'm cutting the grass.
Right, that's something that he doesn't need to totally focus on, right?
Exactly.
Thank you. So cutting the grass is one. How about over here? Did anybody have a time that they're going to pursue this? Anyone over here have a time they'd like to share? When it's going to work for them? David?
Why don't you share?
Anytime you're walking in nature, in the park,
Walking in nature, the park.
sitting on your Otter with a cat on your lap.
Sitting and reclining with a cat on your lap. I love that. Our animals are pets, absolutely. Anybody else have something? Nadia?
I'd like to get up early in the morning before everybody else.
Up early in the morning for everybody else. Patio, yeah, sitting up early in the morning when it's quiet, when others might be sleeping. Okay, thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. Now, I don't have any rules during my God sessions, but I will say this. I do veer myself away from thinking too much about the past and thinking too much about the future, because I find these thoughts can take me away from the present time. And that's the time I want to be in the present time. And I came across this wonderful short poem by Helen Mallicote entitled, I Am. Now this poem reminds me to stay in the present moment. So I'm going to read it for you and see if it might remind you to stay in the present moment. So it's called, I Am. I was regretting the past and fearing the future. And suddenly my Lord was speaking. My name is I Am. When you live in the past with its mistakes and regrets, it's hard. I am not there. My name is not I was. When you live in the future with its problems and fears, it's hard. I am not there. My name is not I will be. When you live in this moment, it is not hard. I am here. My name is I am. So for me, it's a great reminder to stay in the present. And another benefit of connecting to Source is that when you are connecting and conscious of the presence and you are filled with Spirit, you cannot allow your inner bully, your false thinking, your fear, all that stuff that doesn't serve you in. You can only let one in at a time. So you can either let in the divine or your false beliefs. Now, when you allow yourself the gift of connecting, and I do call that a gift, of connecting to your inner knowing, it creates freedom. It's such, to me, such a relief, such freedom. I know that God's there. God's taking care of everything. I don't have to worry. So what kind of freedom am I talking about? Freedom to create creative thoughts and solutions. Freedom to create a life of love. Freedom to create a life of joy. And I don't know about you, but I'll take all the joy you can give me.
Yeah.
And freedom to wake up in the morning and take on your day with vibrance. Whatever you imagine, you have the freedom. The sky is the limit. This freedom could also be letting go of something and allowing our divine intelligence to take over for us. Could you let go of something you are trying to figure out all by yourself? Why not ask the infinite intelligence that dwells right inside of us for guidance? What about something that's causing you worry, fear, doubt? Can you allow the divine love of the universe, the whole universe that's residing in you, to solve this for you? After all, God is all-knowing. Do you have a situation where you feel powerless? Ask your inner spirit for strength so you can be free from worry. Or maybe you're just being really hard on yourself about something. Ask God to unleash all of His compassion upon you. And then just bask in that love and connect to that inner creative power that is your inspiration. And speaking of inspiration, I recently discovered this wonderful book by Julia Cameron called Heart Steps, Prayers and Declarations for a Creative Life. And it's helped me cultivate a greater awareness of my connection to divinity. By using this delightful book, I would love to inspire your connection with Spirit. So using this book full of prayers, I've created a meditation from this book. And Deb said she's going to play some beautiful music during this time. So I'm going to ask you to relax and breathe, and relaxing with each breath. You may want to close your eyes. That is up to you. But let's focus on our breath. Allowing yourself possibly to even separate from your physical body by focusing on your breath. And if possible, focus on your heart, feeling it beating. Feel your breath going in and out, slower and slower. And listen to and absorb these words spoken for you. The great Creator creates through me. I am a creation. This is the God force extending itself through me. Creativity is God's gift to me. Using creativity is my gift back to God. It is the natural extension of my creative nature to manifest my dreams. My dreams come from a divine source. Moving in the direction of my dreams moves me toward my divinity. There is a unity flowing through all things. This unity is responsive to my needs. Unity responds and reacts to my positive spoken words. I am a co-creative being, working with and within a larger whole. I embrace and contain this source, which embraces and contains me. Drawing upon this inner source, I have an unlimited supply. Life is energy, pure, creative energy. This energy is the source of all I desire, all I need, all I want. When I call upon this source to supply me, my good comes to me from all directions. There are ways and means for God to reach me beyond my imagining. I ask God directly to supply my needs. I listen for guidance unfolding in my life. I am alert to promptings from within and without. Expect a responsive universe to react and respond to me. I am a creator engaged in a creative relationship with the world within me and around me. As I create my inner world, my outer world responds in kind. As I establish peace, prosperity, and joy within my heart, these things are manifest in my outer reality. My future blossoms within me. It is unfolding within me, present and sturdy. My dreams and desires are the seeds of my future. So take a moment to allow these words to settle into you. And when you are ready, flutter your eyes open. And I hope this talk inspired you to cultivate your awareness of the divine presence within you and how to strengthen your connection to your inherent God power and maybe create your own God sessions. The Spirit of God lives within each one of us. We have an indwelling universal energy that expresses through us. There is nothing missing in us. There's no separation. Instead, it's a complete unity of ourselves and the divine knower. The basis for all New Thought teaching is the spiritual union of all life. We have the freedom to create our lives through this indwelling presence, especially when we are aware and connect to it. We have it all. All that God is, we are. And so it is.